Okay, I can hope we can munch quietly moving forward here so that we can stay kind of on our timeline. Our next speaker is Dr. Kuijper, is a current rheumatology fellow here at MetroHealth, Case Western. She did her internal medicine residency at Hennepin Healthcare in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Doctor will speak today on lupus and exercise. Please give a warm welcome to Dr. Kuijpers.
Hi, everyone. So happy to see so many people here on a Saturday morning, and we already had 3 presenters. So finally, happy to also see you guys being fed, have some lunch. I'm going to talk a little bit about lupus and exercise, so hopefully it'll be more upbeat, and I won't have you guys sit up in the middle of lunch though. Maybe stretch a little though. So next slide. Do I like move it here? I was like, there you go. So exercise, what is exercise? So it's basically anything that gets your body moving and kind of involving your muscular skeletal muscle, which means arms, legs, anything that involves its muscle. It's a subcategory of physical activity. So when you think of physical activity, it's usually a repetitive, purposeful movement. So by repetitive is if you're training to do a power walk, then you're repetitively walking to get better. So exercise or physical activity kind of has a goal in mind. So if you want to increase your cardiovascular strength, you want to repetitively walk longer distances. And if that's your goal, for instance. So there's a lot of benefits of physical activity, not only in lupus, but in everyone. Every person should be doing some sort of physical activity. So I talked a little bit about all the different types of activity. Some of them is strengthening. So the more muscle mass you have, the stronger you are. And that can prevent physical disability in the long term. So if you're not using those muscles, the muscles actually become smaller over time and you become weaker over time. So the idea is if you keep using those muscles, then that won't happen and you'll be able to continue moving around and doing the activities that you need as daily living. And it's a major determinant of the health-related quality of life. So the more exercise you do, the more health and quality of life you have. So if you have a hard time moving around, starting with little things that can get you moving will improve your quality overall. And it has an important benefit in inflammation. So if you're improving your cardiovascular health, you're also reducing the inflammation. And people with lupus or other diseases that have high inflammatory states like obesity have a higher risk of heart problems because there's a chronic state of inflammation. And that inflammation can be associated with increased atherosclerosis in your plaques, meaning your heart vessels, and that can predispose you or put you in a higher risk for heart attack. And you can lower that by exercising. It can also help your mood. So I'm not a psychiatrist, but the American Psychiatric Association has shown that if you're exercising or doing anything active, it actually improves your mood and improves your depression. And it sounds paradoxical, but it reduces your fatigue. So you might feel tired going into the exercise, like, I feel achy today, my joints hurt, I'm fatigued. 70% of patients with lupus, their main complaint is actually fatigue. So you're probably thinking like, well, how am I gonna do some sort of exercise if I'm feeling so tired to begin with? But even doing that exercise is supposed to actually lessen your fatigue. So it helps. And it improves your sleep, like Dr. Bora was saying earlier. But of course, try not to work out an hour before bed. Sometimes they even recommend 4 hours of no intensity, very intense exercise before bed. So it improves your sleep, but be mindful of what time you're working out. If you're just doing yoga and some light stretching, then that could be 2 hours before sleep or whatever works with your style, since that doesn't raise your heart rate as much. And when you're preparing for exercise, of course, ask your doctor before if you haven't done any sort of exercise in a long time, because the type of exercise that's right for you can be different in each different person. So if you haven't exercised in 30 years, you will probably need to ask, like, how should I start? And there's tools and referrals even available. There's physical therapy, there's PM&R, and some people are already exercising or going to a gym. So everyone has a different level. So of course, we're all here to answer those questions. So the American College of Rheumatology recommends in patients with lupus to have at least these 4 kinds of exercises. So strengthening, flexibility, aerobic exercise, and body awareness exercise. You don't have to pick one, be like, okay, well, I'm going to start exercise and I like aerobic exercise. The recommendations to at least try to do a healthy balance between all of these. So what is strengthening exercises? So basically anything that involves some resistance training. I put weightlifting, but that's not really necessary. If you haven't done weights in a long time, you don't need a gym. You can be at your house. You can grab a gallon of milk, put some water in it, and that can be your weight. It can be as easy as that. And it kind of depends on what you have available. So if a gym is too far from you, or you don't want to pay the $10 for Platinum Fitness because the parking is uncomfortable, that's fine. You can do strength training from home, or you can do it in the park, whatever works. And you have to kind of prepare your workout gear as well. So you have to make sure you're wearing appropriate shoes for this and soles. So if you're looking for strength training tennis shoes, that's different than running tennis shoes, but anything that it has appropriate like laces and you can tie well. Like I wouldn't do, it seems like it's straightforward, but I've seen people in the gym with flip-flops and that's dangerous. You can drop a weight in it. So try to wear shoes that will cover your toes. So if you go to the Lupus Foundation website, there's even like little journals or little articles that have like a little set of exercises or strength training exercises for beginners. If you're already had begun, there's also like YouTube videos you can find that say lupus and strength training. And some of these are examples of what you can do. So of course, squatting, that looks a little bit hard if you've never really squashed. It's kind of low and parallel. So even just going like a little bit and starting there, doing like 10 of those, taking a little break and then doing that 3 more times in a day. It's what you consider like a repetitive exercise. How many times should I do it in a week? It depends on where you're starting, but at least try to tackle every part of your body once a week. So if you can do legs for at least 10 minutes on Monday, you can do 10 minutes of arms on Wednesdays and do the other types of exercises on the other days of the week. So like the ones I try to emphasize was ones that you could do at home or anywhere, so you don't have to worry about paying for a gym, which is, I feel like a lot of things are become barriers when you haven't started an exercise, or you find like easier ways to find excuses and you don't get it done. So start small if you haven't started. Then there's flexibility. So flexibility, you see a lot of these. I'm like, I can't do that. I can do this number 3. So that's normal. You're never expected to start like what you see on these commercials that sometimes they show people running around, being flexible. So set realistic expectations, of course. Just even stretching your arm right now, that is a normal stretch that everyone can do right now. And even when you're just sitting, you can just put your neck a little bit to the right, to the left, look to the right, to the left. That's a small stretch everyone is able to do and doesn't take any of your time. And stretching is a little bit different than flexibility. And as you stretch over time, you actually work to become a little bit more flexible. So if you're not able to touch your toes, you'll like number 10, like I can't do that, but if you're able to touch your knees and start there, that's fine. And that will keep your flexibility going. Other exercise that the ACR recommends, we already talked about some strengthening, we talked about some flexibility, is aerobic exercise. And that's commonly, everyone knows it as cardio. We're doing cardiovascular exercise, and that involves anything that brings your heart rate up. So depending on where you're starting and your intensity that you want to do, they will recommend, well, just exercise where you can maybe like have to take a deep breath while you're walking. So right now I'm not exercise, so I can keep on talking and talking, but if you're doing cardiovascular exercise and an intensity of 7, you shouldn't be able to have a full conversation with someone as I am now. And that's a good way to gauge how intense your exercise is. And there's many, many ways to bring that heart rate up. So walking is an easy one to do. Of course, with the sun and with lupus, wear SPF or sunblock, wear hats. Sometimes that can get hot in the summer. So if you want to do, if you have a treadmill available, then that's fine because you're in the shade there. If swimming is another good option. There can be biking, you can do stationary bike. There's a lot of aerobic exercise classes available all over YouTube, and they're all free. And of course, keep mindful if you haven't done too much or if you're having discomfort or have questions, do not start like an exercise regimen before talking with your doctor. The fourth one that the ACR recommends is called body awareness. So kind of being mindful of where you are in space and in time. There's like about 3 of them. So a lot of the more common ones is yoga, tai chi, Pilates, and they focus on your posture. They focus on your surroundings, being mindful. So just taking like a breath now and being aware that you're all in this room and all learning together and experiencing this moment together and taking a deep breath. And it's like, oh, wow, I'm here on a Saturday. It's beautiful out. You have a very beautiful view here. Even that is just being conscious and being part of your own health. And if you can move with it, great. So the other thing exercise can do is improve your mental health. Like I was saying, the American College of Psychiatry says even with mild depression, exercising a little bit goes a long way. So a lot of the questions that I get in clinic is, what can I do to not have medications? And if you're on medications, it's because we recommend it, but if you can do something, it's exercise. So what the cardiologist doctors recommend at least 30 minutes, 5 times a week. Just 20 minutes of physical activity a week can boost mental health. So that's very like, oh, sorry about that. That's just even doing like a brisk walk from here to the parking lot. You get like maybe 10 minutes. And then if you can do 10 minutes walking with your dog, that's already boosting your mental health. If you have a pet, walking the dog's a good excuse, but even gardening, it's going to be harder in the winter. But doing household chores, I don't find that as pleasant, but I guess the American College of Psychiatry thinks that can bring some elevation in your mood. And yeah, just even going out when the sunset and walking those little 10 minutes on a Saturday and a Sunday will elevate your mood, and enjoying the nature out there. And like I was saying before, fatigue is one of the main complaints in lupus, like 70%, that's like 7 out of 10 people feel tired, and it doesn't seem like exercising will be one of the most helpful things, but it has been. There's been studies done, and it's been very easy to see the benefits from it, from just exercising. It is counterintuitive, but it increases your energy, so it's great. And even from those 80 or 70% that felt sluggish, tired, 90% of people improve with exercise. So 90% is a huge number. So if you're in that 10%, well, there's other options, but if you're in that 90%, that's a huge number, then you'll definitely see a difference. And then exercise can help prevent some of the side effects of some of the medications. Most of the medications have other side effects, but I think specifically is prednisone is one of the one that has the side effects that have, for example, increased appetite. Some people get very, very hungry with it, and if you're able to, and it also makes you gain weight mostly because of water retention and other things. But if you're have the issues with increased appetite, exercising can actually help regulate the hormones related with appetite. So you can try to counterfight some of that with exercise. There can be some other side effects such as high blood pressure, cholesterol, high sugar, and sometimes our patients are like, well, doesn't your blood pressure get high when we exercise? And it does, like physiologically. So sometimes we check our blood pressure in clinic, and you've been running, for example, late to the appointment, and you have high blood pressure because you just ran to try to make it to the appointment, and we recheck later and it's normal. And it's like, well, why would it help my blood pressure at the end? Well, it helps relax your blood vessels. It helps relax the blood flow. So at the end of the day, those 10 minutes of like maybe high blood pressure helps in the long term with your blood pressure. So 5 tips to get started with exercise. Probably have said it more than a couple of times already. Talk to your doctor, especially if you haven't started a regimen or you have questions about achy joints that might not be related to the lupus. Even if you have like other types of like osteoarthritis, you're wondering, oh, is this exercise right for me? So anything you have questions with, reach out and take it slow and steady. So maybe right now you're feeling very motivated. I'm like, well, I feel tired. I'm gonna start like exercising a lot. I'm just gonna go for a really long walk for a whole hour, and then the next day you're gonna be like, wow, I think I overdid it. Everything hurts. This is not working. And that's a very common mistake. You read something about exercise, you get very excited about it, and then you feel like tired and sore for a week, and then you don't pick it up. So actually, you might be very excited after this. I don't know, maybe. I hope so. But take it slow. Those 10 minutes, trying to make a journal, and find time in your schedule to actually schedule exercise, because it's for you and you have to find time for yourself. So having a journal, looking at your work schedule, looking at how your schedule is in the day, and be like, okay, I have time before dinner or before breakfast and in the morning and night, whatever time works for you, but make that time for yourself and be conscious and be like, okay, I just have to do 10 minutes today. And if you're enjoying your exercise and it goes longer for 20, great. If you feel like 5 was too much, then that's fine, but you made that time for yourself. And the Lupus Foundation recommend low impact exercise as one of the most and longest lasting benefits for lupus. So probably doing marathon training, doing a lot of jumping is probably not the best for you, but low aerobic, low impact exercise is what they recommend. So what's low impact? It's probably nothing that involves jumping. So don't go buy a jump rope right now. But if you can do some walking, that's low impact. If you have a machine that's like the elliptical, that's very low impact, and it brings your heart rate up. Bringing your arms up and down, any like little thing can bring is low impact. Even doing this back and forth for 10 minutes, next thing you know, your shoulders are sore and you're actually working out your arms. So low impact is really easy to do, and there'd be long-standing benefits. Sometimes some people think budding up helps. So you have a buddy, you feel like, oh, well, I don't feel like working out today, but my buddy, I can't disappoint them. And they're probably maybe feeling the same way as you are, that you're not very too motivated. But if you both show up, then at least you both have some responsibility for each other's self, and that helps some people sometimes. And it doesn't have to be necessarily a buddy. Some people find group classes helpful. There you meet other people, and then it becomes like a social event. If that becomes helpful for you, like joining a class, you make new friends and you find support from other participants. These are the references I use. So you can find exercises for lupus in WebMD. You can find lupus in the Lupus Organization, the benefits for 5 benefits of exercise, low impact exercises, managing your lupus with exercise. There's a lot of resources out there. And the last one is just one of the resource articles regarding like the fatigue and the lupus and the study. So that's what I have for you this morning. Is there any questions that I can help with? Thank you. Yeah. Oh, that's a very good question. So breaking a sweat does not make the exercise high impact. So impact means kind of the impact you're doing on your joints while you're doing an exercise. So walking, you're not hurting your joints too much, and you're just going back and down, versus high impact, you're jumping, and that can cause some strain in your ankles and joints. So that's what the impact refers to, but it doesn't refer to the amount of heart rate that you need to bring up. So you can, if you do a brisk pace and you bring your heart rate up and you're breaking a sweat, that's not related to the impact. It's more related to the intensity of the exercise. So definitely you need to break a sweat. I'm hot here breaking a sweat with the sweater because it's hot, but I'm not exercising. But any question? Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, definitely listening to your body, and if something hurts is a good way to be conscious of it. And it's hard to just answer that question with how, like, knowing your case or knowing if you need like imaging for that. So that's why, like, if you have questions about it, it's the best to see a doctor to look at your x-rays or to do a physical exam and see if there's something to be concerned about. But listening to your body, and if something hurts, I would recommend stopping. Or yeah. Okay.
causing more pain, or is the pain going to help? I guess is the question. Like how to get these, are there any tips to get some through some of these exercises with the knees?
Yeah. That's right. I love, especially with exercises like we don't recommend like high impact. The knees get a strain, so that's why we don't recommend it. And yeah.
There's like, you do your knees, do like back lifts or whatever the case is, just little stuff.
Yeah, sometimes starting with squats for some people, it's a lot for the knees. And for the knees, you actually want to strengthen the quadricep muscles and the muscles that go on top of the knees to help the joint. So sometimes even like sitting down and bringing that leg up and finding like an ankle weight. So, well, no, it's more like bringing your leg up and forth, out and out. With an ankle weight, that's a good like low low impact way to not stress that knee, but bring the quadricep muscle strengthening, and strengthening that muscle itself will help stabilize the joint. So those are good options. And of course, if you have more questions about variety, because that one can sometimes just be boring by itself, doing that every like 3 times a week. It can be boring to just do this back and forth. We can always send like physical training or physical therapy that can have like more options for if you have like knee disease. Yeah.
I got recently diagnosed with arthritis in my one hip, and I was trying to come up with exercises to do for my legs. And so I was like on YouTube trying to find chair exercises, chair. But I was really struggling to find them. It's just like, because I know I work at a senior place, and I've seen them have classes where they literally all are just sitting in their chair. So I wanted to do that, they're moving their arms. They look like they're really getting their heart rate up, but I was having trouble finding the videos for like a chair.
Okay, I didn't know that, but ARP, I guess, is a good option. Yes?
So I have connective tissue disease. Always overdoing it very easily, like overall body overdoing it, doing simple things like vacuuming the house or even foods or things that I think I should be able to do that aren't going to wipe me out for 3 days afterwards. How do you know if you should push through some of these things? And if I do, is that going to build up some endurance to be able to, not overdo it so easily? Or is that just part of listening to my body and knowing when to quit?
That's,
You want to do all the things. And
yeah.
and then you're set back for 3 days. So you kind of don't even want to try to do something because you don't want to upset everything.
Yeah, it's a good question, and it's a common thing. Like you want to not be defined by your disease. You want to keep doing the things you're doing and exercising or gardening, and feel discouraged if you feel sore the next day. But some of these things is just a trial of error. So you're like, okay, well, I'm not necessarily too achy. I'm not having joint issues. I've been out here for the gardening. Keeping a journal of these things is helpful for 20 minutes. And that made me feel sore for 3 days. And then I tried it again and it was still sore. So it doesn't look like it's an endurance issue. It just looks like that was too much for your body. So you can just cut it back the next time for 15 minutes and see if that makes a difference. And being mindful about it, like keeping a journal of how you felt after is helpful. So it varies, and it's some trial and error as you're going through it, and just not getting discouraged and working hard and trying to see how you felt afterwards too as well, and growing from that as well. Yeah. Yeah.
So a couple housekeeping issues I want to address. It is very important for you. Usually I flood you with all kinds of paperwork with assessments and how we did and all that good stuff. I really need you to fill that paperwork out. Our funders and our sponsors really like us to measure things and try to gather as much data as we can. We're not giving them your contact information. It is not in your folder. You're going to be sent it electronically to you within the next hour from our guy. Okay, let's give our guy a round of applause. And it'll go into a contest. We're going to have a drawing for a $50 gift card. So I'm going to make it worth somebody's while. Okay. And I want to really, really stress how important, because we're doing it differently this time and I'm not sure it's going to work. So I want to we're about to close, but we have a couple of other pillars in our audience that they snuck in. So we have Lisa Briding in the back. Lisa, another lupus warrior. Okay, Lisa has really become very involved with the organization. She is a patient navigator. She leads an online support group. She co-leads a prayer group for those that are prayer warriors. She has a support group in Brexville that she covers, and she helps the actor and support group as well. And Lisa, we thank you for all you do. We're very, very grateful for you. Okay. We also have another navigator in the audience, and you're going to kill me because I keep forgetting your name. Stand up and tell me your name, sweetie. Hallie. There you go. Hallie's going to do some programs for us. She's new to our organization. You have a sister with lupus, I believe, correct? Family member with lupus. So we thank you as well. We have, where's Aletha at? Where's Trouble? There she is. Okay, this is Aletha Ackery. Aletha leads a support group. She's also our outreach coordinator for Cuyahoga County. Okay, Aletha is also a lupus patient, and her family became very, very involved and passionate about what we do. Before Lauren and Devonna and Sonia leave, I want to get your autograph for my magazine, okay, so that I can house it. I want to give a special shout out and thank you to MetroHealth for this wonderful facility and providing their physicians for us. I think the Top Gun might have left. There he is, Dr. Stanley Blue, chairman of our medical board. Yay, Dr. Blue. He, of course, was very instrumental in securing the venue for us today. And also he's risen again, as he always does. He's helping us. We received funding from CDC in the past month here to do continuing ed programs for clinicians about lupus in the coming years. We're real excited with that. Metro's going to partner with us on that. I'm going to say thank you to all the physicians because your gift of time is priceless to us. We thank you so much. We know that we're annoying to you, okay? But we're really, really grateful that you came out today. From our sponsors, GSK, we couldn't do the things we do without you. We're so grateful, and especially for the drugs that you brought to the table, Aurinia as well. And what we've learned from Aurinia, I want you to start asking your doctors about your urine test. If you had one, haven't had one in a while, ask why not. You need to pee in the cup. Okay, true story. The other thing is one of the physicians spoke about mental health. You know, I had that journey myself. The good news is there's some good news along the line here. Many of you helped us with our advocacy initiatives. And this year we were able to champion through the state of Ohio, first time it's ever been done, a line item up to the fact of $500,000, okay? And this $500,000, and I'm going to thank these two drove me all along the Capitol and spent countless days educating our legislators who knew practically nothing about lupus. So we're stuck with that issue that in order for there to be no lupus, you must know it. With those funds, we're going to do more advocacy awareness. We're going to be removing some barriers to care, and one of those is mental health. So if you struggle with mental health and you can't figure out how to navigate your way through the system, let us know and we can help you with that as well. So those are a lot of good news is going on. Did I forget anything? God knows what. What about Rita? If I've introduced Rita? Okay, so Rita is in charge of all of our patient navigators, and we do wellness calls. We do check-in calls. We check in on you. So answer the phone, okay? We want to make sure you're okay. We want to make sure you don't have any barriers to care. Look, my journey was a lonely, miserable, misunderstood journey. Okay, now I'm 70 something. I know I don't look it, but that's what the answer is supposed to be. It doesn't have to be that way today. Okay, we have a lot of help today. There's no I in lupus, but there is an us. Remember that. Did I get across all my T's? Oh my God, the walk is coming September 30th. Where are you? I want to see every one of you. If I have to walk, you have to walk. Okay, so the walk, I know that sounds a lot, okay, but we do an angel walk with me. See how far I get. Or you can do the 5K. All right, now we're going to be down at Margaritaville. This is our largest fundraising event of the year. And it's not that I want you to raise funds. I want your friends and family to raise funds. And they're not going to do it unless you ask. Okay, so make sure you ask. And I want to see you down. There's going to be a beautiful fall day, hopefully. And what else do we like? Oh, MetroHealth is sponsoring a women's cultural event on the same day. You can go in the afternoon because it's till 4. So a lot of things going on. We have, if you're a new patient here, we have new patient education class. Rita facilitates that. If you'd like to be a support group leader, please let me know. Mother, daughter, I need you in the magazine. I need you in the podcast. I need your story, okay? Husbands and wives, I need you in the story. People need to hear your story, and each one of us is different, and we will learn from each other, okay? I think that's it. Is that a wrap? They call it a wrap. Go in peace. God bless. Have safe travel. See you at the walk.